One man's music could be heard around the world today, a tribute to his life, a hymn of mourning at his death. And in California, attention focused on what caused Michael Jackson's sudden demise. Was it a powerful dose of prescription drugs? Did he have a pre-existing heart condition? The coroner's autopsy was ruled incomplete until additional toxicology results are available. But already, questions are being asked about his personal doctor, a cardiologist whose CPR failed to resuscitate the pop icon. And as Chris Connolly reports, it all began with one desperate call to 911.
We have a gentleman here that needs help, and he's not breathing yet. He's not breathing, and we're trying to pump him, but he's not breathing, sir.
Okay, how old is he?
He's 50 years old, sir.
50, okay. He's unconscious, he's not breathing?
Yes, he's not breathing, sir.
Okay, and he's not conscious either.
No, he's not conscious, sir.
Okay.
So we have a personal doctor here with him, sir.
Oh, you have a doctor there?
Yes, but he's not responding to anything. No, he's not responding to CPR or anything.
The doctor mentioned is this man, Dr. Conrad Murray. The LAPD towed his car from in front of Michael Jackson's home last night, and now the police plan to thoroughly interview him about exactly what happened in Jackson's final moments.
There was no indication of any external trauma or any indication of foul play on the body of Mr. Jackson.
Law enforcement sources told ABC News that Jackson was addicted to OxyContin and received it and Demerol in daily doses. A severe overdose of these drugs can lead to cardiac arrest or death. It may be weeks before we know for sure what led to his last breath, but to those who spent time with him in what would become the final days of his life, Michael Jackson's death seemed every bit as shocking as it was to his hundreds of millions of fans across the globe.
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson, the king of pop.
At the time of his death, Michael Jackson was rehearsing for an extraordinary series of 50 sold-out concerts to be performed in London starting the middle of next month, the This Is It Tour.
I'll be performing the songs my fans want to hear. This is it. I mean, this is really it. This is the final curtain call.
Producer Ken Ehrlich says he met with Michael on Wednesday, the day before he died, and stuck around for a rehearsal that evening.
We had a very good meeting, and he was in fine spirit. He was really in great spirits. He was joking. We were having fun. Watched him go through pretty much of the back half of his show, and he was in great shape there. I mean, he was in really good form. And the feeling that I got from watching him was that there was no doubt that, you know, by the time the show got to London, he was going to be able to hit it.
When you looked in Michael's eyes, Michael was the most determined to pull this off, more than anything he's ever done before.
Helping Jackson to orchestrate the stage show was Kenny Ortega.
Cheerleaders, here we go!
The acclaimed choreographer, best known for directing the High School Musical films.
I gotta get my head in the game. You gotta get your head in the game.
On Wednesday night, I said to him, I'm certain that this will go down as being the greatest rock and roll live moment in the history of, live concert performance. When Michael got into the zone, it was Michael, as we all have known him and have all fallen in love with, that incredible entertainer.
Jackson's death has left Ortega vowing to get some element of This Is It before audiences someday, and grieving, along with so many others, just as Jackson was marshaling his resources once more to do what, at his peak, no one has done quite so well: perform on a stage.
I know how brokenhearted the fans are. I know it. I know how invested they are in him. I know how much he meant to them. I read it every day, every night before I go to bed. And that I just want to say that, that I share their sadness and my heart too is broken.
Do you feel he was addicted to OxyContin?
I feel he was addicted to opiates, yes.
What did you say to him about that addiction?
I said, Michael, you're going to die. Listen to me. And he would say, you're kidding. I'm just got pain, and I only take it when I have pain.
Jackson's friend Deepak Chopra, the doctor and spiritual advisor, recalls giving those warnings to Jackson again and again.
In 2005, he came to see me after the trial, and he stayed with me for a few days. And then all of a sudden, he asked me for a prescription. I'm being a doctor and have a narcotics license. And I said, why would you want a prescription for a narcotic? And he showed me a bottle of OxyContin. And I said, why are you taking this? And he said, I have a lot of pain. And then the more I started to probe into this, the more he became defensive.
He hopes the authorities will look into the doctors that Jackson surrounded himself with.
It's now time to really do a thorough investigation of not those doctors only, but there's a coterie of doctors in Hollywood who perpetuate this kind of behavior. The number one cause of drug addiction in America today is not street drugs. It's medical prescriptions prescribed by people who have licenses. They have a license to kill.
Yet though his end may indeed have been stunningly swift and unexpected, it may be hard for a younger generation not to think of Michael Jackson as their Elvis, a man who seemed to revel in fame, only to fall victim to its well-chronicled side effects. Yet his friend Chopra urges a more compassionate view.
He came from a childhood where there was a lot of abuse, physical as well as verbal abuse. He was very, very hurt by all that people didn't realize that he was actually hiding from them. He had become an isolationist. The more they ridiculed him, the more he hid. Now, people who've been abused like that in childhood also develop a certain amount of self-loathing and a sense of shame. It's part of what this immune system is confused about. It doesn't know who's a friend, who's a foe. His obsession with plastic surgery, for example, bordered on self-mutilation. At times he would start to cry. At times he would say that you don't understand, you know, how ugly I am, how do I look. He was a very sweet, innocent, compassionate, loving person. And he, even with all the cruelty that he was surrounded by in the press and the media, he never had anger. He never expressed anger, which was nothing, which also surprised me, that, you know, he would be confused as to why people were cruel.
Michael took us on this journey and unexpectedly sort of left us off, and we can't close the book.
In Los Angeles, this is Chris Connolly for Nightline.